You got this. I believe in you. My name is Jay Cohen, and I am a cookbook author. I worked in some of New York's best restaurants and test kitchens. And now I consider myself the king of dinner parties. I'm obsessed with cooking for my friends. My goal is to create delicious, reliable recipes that are gonna make you an entertaining superstar. It's stunning, but so simple. Let's make this easy. Hi Divas, I'm Jay Cohen, here to share reliable recipes for easy entertaining that are going to taste like you tried. Today we're making two of my favorites, these Turkish leek burgers that are packed with jammy leeks, as well as these peach crumb bars, which are one of my favorite sweets to share with the crowd. We're gonna get started with these crumb bars because, again, I always wanna get dessert out of the way, so it's kind of out of sight, out of mind while we grill. So we're gonna get started on the dough. Here we got everything that's gonna go into the food processor. It's a very simple dough that's actually kind of like a variation of a recipe I got from my great-grandmother. It's so easy. It's going to be something you're gonna use for pretty much any type of dessert where you need that kind of crumble, cookie, cake-like crust. We're gonna start with 4 cups of all-purpose flour. And then we have 1 cup of granulated sugar, 1/4 cup of light brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Throw in our lid, and then we're just gonna pulse this together to combine. Amazing. So now we have our butter. We're using a full pound of butter. I'm not saying that this is the health dessert of your dreams, but this is also gonna make a lot of peach crumb bars. This is kind of one of those great recipes whenever you're having like a cookout, a bunch of people are coming over, you wanna make some for now and then have leftovers for later. Because again, it's like in my household, if you don't have leftovers, you didn't make enough. We're just gonna cube our butter into nice little chunks. Doesn't have to be perfect. The whole idea of this is a dough that kind of bridges the gap between like a cookie dough, a pie dough. It has eggs, but it also uses cold butter to get these nice little flecks of fat that are gonna make it surprisingly like flaky for a crumb. Throw that right into the food processor. And we're just gonna pulse this to incorporate the butter. We wanna get nice little pea-sized crumbles to make sure that there's still chunks of butter, but it's just starting to get incorporated. All right, let's take a look. This is what we're talking about. You see, we got these nice little pieces of butter. It's incorporating in, and now, to make this dough really come together, we're going to use 3 eggs. I'm just gonna lightly beaten. The main reason that I'm gonna beat them versus just like adding them straight to the dough is I actually want to make sure that we don't overwork this dough. We just wanna do it just until it comes together. All right, we're gonna add in our 3 beaten eggs. And now we're just gonna pulse until the dough begins to really form into a ball. Gorgeous. You don't wanna overwork it. So this is kind of where you wanna be. And once you take out a piece and you squeeze it and you have this nice, beautiful crumb dough. Oh, should go the other way. So I'm just gonna throw this into a bowl here. And it's totally fine if you still have some crumbs, because what I typically do is I don't want to overwork it, so I'm going to just go in with my hands after we transfer it to a bowl, give it a couple of good squeezes just to make sure that everything is nice and incorporated. There are no little like rogue streaks of flour or egg. And the best part is that you can still see these little pockets of butter throughout, which is what we're looking for. I'm gonna clean off my hands and then we're gonna get going on this filling so we can pop these bars into the oven. So we just have 2 pounds of ripe peaches. I'm gonna cut them into wedges. Some people are very adamant about peeling their stone fruit. I am not. I think it does not make a difference, and it's just one extra step that we don't need to be adding in. And we're just gonna cut these into some nice wedges. So again, we're using 2 pounds of ripe peaches for this recipe. If you want to swap it out with cherries or berries or apples or pears, go wild. Just make sure you still use 2 pounds. So now we're going to add in the rest of the ingredients for the filling, which is a 1/2 cup of sugar. These are ripe, so they're already sweet, but we just want to give it that little extra zhuzh. And then the most important thing, and this is more important for stone fruits or really juicy fruits like peaches or berries, is cornstarch. We need something to thicken all of these juices that are gonna come out in the oven because we do not want soggy bars, we want nice, delicious, jammy ones. So add in a 1/4 cup of cornstarch. Half a teaspoon of salt just to balance out all that sweetness. And 2 tablespoons of freshly squeezed lemon juice just to add in a little bit of brightness. We're gonna give this a nice little toss. We wanna make sure that the peaches are evenly coated. We don't wanna do this too early because the sugar's gonna really start to pull out all of those juices in the peaches, and we're not looking for that to happen until we're in the oven and the cornstarch has an opportunity to really help everything thicken up. All right. We have a 9x13 baking dish that I lined with parchment with overhang on all sides. That's so important because it's gonna make your life so much easier to take them out of the pan to slice, which is what we're looking for. Easy, easy, easy. So I'm gonna take 2/3 of this dough and we're just gonna press it in. And that's gonna be kind of the base. And you just have to use your fingers. It doesn't have to be super perfect. If you want it to be perfect, you could use a measuring cup to press it in, but I'm telling you, it really isn't that important. You could just use your fingers and kind of roughly spread it out. We just wanna make sure the entire bottom of the tray is covered. Okay, and now we're gonna go in with our peaches. Give them one last little toss before we add them on. I'm gonna spread them out into a nice little even layer. All right, and then last but not least, the reason I love this dough so much, and I was just like, I use it all the time, is because it's just as good as the base as it is for the crumble on top. So we just pressed in 2/3 of the dough, and then the rest, I'm just gonna crumble into these little pieces on top of the peaches, and that's what's gonna create this nice crispy topping, while on the bottom, it's gonna be this nice shortbready crust. It really is such a beautiful dough that you can use them for both. This is kind of all my favorite things wrapped up in one delicious dessert. Juicy peaches, this beautiful like cinnamon scented buttery crust. It's all the textures, all the flavors you could want. And this is gonna serve a lot of people. So like you did little work and you're gonna get the maximum amount of sweets. I wasn't kidding when I said it was gonna taste like you tried. This is so easy. You're gonna make it every season with every type of fruit. People are gonna think you were in the kitchen baking all day when really it just came together super quickly. So these bars are going to bake in a 350-degree oven for 50 to 60 minutes. And when we come back, we're gonna pull those bars out of the oven and get going on our Turkish leek burgers. So we're just at about 55 minutes and our peach crumb bars smell incredible. Oh, yes. We have this beautiful, bubbling, thick peach jam around the edges. It's nice and golden. We're gonna let this cool completely. Please, be patient, let them cool while we make our burgers, and then we'll slice it up and give them a try. All right, let's get going on these Turkish leek burgers. So why Turkish and not Turkish? Well, this is inspired by something that my mother-in-law taught me. She spent a lot of time living in Turkey, and there's this incredible Ladino Jewish dish called kefta de prasa, which are these like fritters of beef and cooked leeks. And it just sounded so good that it made me think, why aren't we adding cooked leeks into our burger mixture? Because we're already adding onions on top all the time, whether caramelized or raw. We're gonna start off with 4 leeks. 2 I've already sliced, and 2 I'm gonna show you how I prep, because leeks can be a little sandy, they can be a little dirty. We wanna make sure that we give them the love and attention that we need. So I'm gonna take off the ends, and then we're only using the white and the light green parts. The dark green parts are things that I'm gonna save for stock. Then I'm just gonna slice them in half lengthwise. I'm going to go over to the sink and I'm going to really rinse them well, because you get all of these little bits of sand and dirt as the leeks grow up. We want to make sure that those don't end up into our burgers. All right, we have our nice cleaned leeks. I'm just going to give them a thin slice into these little half moons, and then we're going to cook them down until they're nice and jammy. Leeks have such a beautiful, delicate onion flavor. They're absolutely perfect in these burgers. So we're just gonna heat up a nice large skillet over medium-high heat, and we're going to throw in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We wanna let that get nice and hot. And while this is obviously inspired by that Turkish dish of the caramelized leeks, you can kind of take this concept in a million different directions. Any type of caramelized onion to add into your burger mixture is gonna add such great sweetness and flavor. So let's add our leeks straight to the pan. Throw in a big pinch of kosher salt to help them cook down. We're gonna let these go for about 12 to 15 minutes until they're nice and soft and jammy and beginning to become nice and golden. And we're obviously gonna let these cool completely before we add them to our burger meat. So this is a great step to knock out the day before, keep in the fridge. I'm all about prep whenever I'm cooking for a crowd, cooking for people I love. So in the same way that I would make these peach crumb bars the day before, I would also get all of these leeks cooked in advance. Our leeks are nice and beautifully jammy, which is exactly what we're looking for. And now we're gonna let them cool completely before they hit our ground beef. The easiest way to do that, thin layer on a sheet pan. I'm gonna spread it out nice and thin, and this way it will cool a lot faster so we can get to grilling and eating. When we come back, we're gonna assemble our burgers, get them all cooked, and try it all. Let's make some burgers. So what I have here are 2 pounds of ground beef. I prefer an 80% lean. That being said, if you want to go 90 and be a little healthier, you do you. But come on, it's like a burger, treat yourself. We're gonna add in all of these cooled leeks. Then we're gonna throw in a 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs. This is just to help kind of hold everything together so that the leeks don't cause the burgers to split. And then just a little bit of spice, a little 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And now we're just gonna kind of mix this all together. I don't know what I'm doing with this because the best way to do it is with your hands. Really kind of start to massage those leeks in. It is a high leek to beef ratio, and that's how we're gonna get the most amount of flavor out of these burgers. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna press it down in my bowl, get into an even layer, and then we're going across once, across twice, and then again into 8 little even chunks that we can then pull out and form into our patties. And what I typically do is take my thumb and make a little indent in the center because it's gonna plump up as it cooks, and this way everything cooks evenly. I'm just gonna wash my hands and then we're going to cook up these burgers. So we're gonna let the pan heat up for a few minutes. Meanwhile, I'm gonna season up our burgers. We really wanna be nice and liberal with some kosher salt and pepper on both sides. We're gonna throw in just about a tablespoon of olive oil. The most important thing is that you get your pan ripping hot. I want a nice golden crust and a beautiful medium rare interior, which is gonna take about 3 minutes per side. The worst thing you could do is put your burgers in like a not hot pan. It's gonna start to steam. You're not gonna get any color. You'll end up overcooking the burgers. No one's gonna have a good time, and we're looking for the best burger experience possible. That's the sound we're looking for. All right. Gorgeous. We got a nice golden crust on both sides. I'm gonna pull them out and get going on our second batch. These are my non-negotiables when it comes to a beautiful, delicious burger. First off, we're gonna do a little challah bun. You could obviously use a brioche roll, a potato roll, whatever you like, but I find that these challah buns are just so fluffy and soft. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop them right into this pan to kind of soak up some of that burger juice. And then to go on top, keep it simple. Some nice sliced beef steak tomatoes, heirloom tomatoes, whatever you can get your hands on. Some red onion. I kind of like the juxtaposition of the really crunchy bite of raw red onion to go with the caramelized leeks in the burger. And then, of course, just some torn butter lettuce. Perfect accoutrements for our burgers. Nice little golden bun. So here's how we're gonna build them. We got our bottom bun. I'm just gonna do a little bit of mayo. It might be very controversial, but I do not want ketchup on my burgers. I'm a big fan of a combo of mayo on the bottom bun, mustard on the top. It's that perfect combo of richness and bite. Add on our burger. Nice, big, thick tomato slice. The second you add a tomato to your burger, a little pinch of salt. We season everything, and that does not change with the tomatoes that go on our burgers. Our butter lettuce. Boop. Boop. And now that is a good-looking burger. I cannot wait to dig into these burgers, but first, I'm gonna slice up these peach crumb bars. Like I said, we let them cool completely. I was able to pull them right out of the pan, which is the goal. I cannot wait for you to make this. And most importantly, you got this. I believe in you. You got 2 new easy recipes to add to your repertoire. I can't wait to see you make them. Be sure to send me all pictures at Jake Cohen, and I will see you next time.